So we know the issues, we know about energy, we know about the border, we know Joe Biden doesn't know what he's doing. We know all that, we get all that. But why do this? Why do this here tonight with Legacy PAC? Because there's a whole lot of people who have the passion to save this country who need help getting off the ground.
The purpose of Legacy PAC is to save America. That's our mission. That's what we really want to do because America's worth saving.
I am by trade, I'm a cybersecurity engineer. Okay, so this is my first run in politics. We need more conservative Republicans standing up and fighting for the Constitution.
We're an America First PAC, and we want to promote and help our up-and-coming candidates, and we're going to be holding the line for President Trump.
I joined the Army at 17 years old. My first day at my first unit, which was 25th Infantry, was September 10th, 2001. So the next day was 9/11. And I spent about a total of a decade between Iraq and Afghanistan in country. So my country means everything to me. When I realized that if people like myself who don't want to be politicians don't start stepping up and taking these seats, that nothing's going to change, then I said, okay, I'll do it.
Who deserves to lead the people of this country more than those who serve this country? So I'm behind every one of them. So let's make sure we get more veterans into power. I'm all for it.
Remember why you're involved. We have to make sure people remain humble and not engage in self-glorification. You are here for one reason, and that is to save the country. Period. End of story.
And for those candidates who are looking uphill and wondering how, keep your head down, focus on the target, and outwork everybody. And I promise you, you're not gonna lose. You're either gonna win on election night or you change the game on election night. So God bless you guys. Thank you so much, Legacy PAC.
Thank you, Legacy PAC.
Under this administration, they have deliberately opened the border to fundamentally change the fabric of our country.
I'm Jared Craig with Legacy PAC. We are here at Eagle Pass, Texas, to bring attention to the border crisis, to educate the voters, the citizens of the United States, and the candidates running for federal office, the importance of a secure border.
And at Legacy PAC, we want to bring candidates here to the border to see it firsthand, because there is nothing like being here, seeing this. We saw women and children climbing over barbed wire. There is no reason why we cannot secure this border. There is no reason to keep this open. This is not humane. So we need to get Victor and all these other good America First candidates into office.
We at Legacy PAC depend on your donation and support to support these projects. We can't do it without you, so please go on to legacypac.org and show your support.
And Stan, where's Stan? Stan is with Veterans for Trump.
Thank you, Martha.
Thank you all. We're honored. I know there are so many organizations represented here today.
You're saying here too much. But you're going to do very well. And I just had somebody write down, first of all, James and Sarah Pritchard, thank you very much. Yes, great job. Thank you. We appreciate all the help. Stanley and Donna Fitzgerald.
Right here, sir.
Thank you very much. It's great. It's great that you're with us. Mike Acton.
But I found a quote today that I wanted to start my remarks with, and this is a quiz for you to tell me who said this and approximately when they said it. Freedom is a fragile thing, and it's never more than one generation away from, from extinction. It is not ours by way of inheritance. It must be fought for and defended constantly by each generation, for it only comes once to a people. Okay, yes, it was Ronald Reagan, but when did he say it? 1967, when he was running for governor. And you look at that and you see how true that is. you know, I know where I was in 1967. Some of you weren't even around. Others of you were probably, maybe even ahead of me.
I was two.
You were two?
Yes.
Terrible twos.
I was one.
But, where are we now? We look at our country and we are under attack.
Yeah.
And there are three things that they are attacking. They're attacking our economy. They're attacking our security. And they're attacking our culture.
Yes.
Think about where we were at the end of President Trump's first administration. Our economy was strong. We had security. We were getting better at the border. I was on a team with a number of Texas contractors, and we built 145 miles of border wall. Trump finished 450, and then Biden shut it all down. But we were secure. Nobody messed with us. Trump flipped the equation on national security. A lot of people don't realize this. I had the privilege of being one of his national security advisors during the 2016 campaign. Then once he was elected, they wanted me to stay on. I said, I got a wall to build. So we did that. But what he flipped was, normally, and you see it right now, we start our foreign policy with our diplomats. God bless them. They are theoreticians who just kind of talk and talk and talk. They ultimately become apologists for the countries that they've lived in, but they don't ever get anything done. And then what ends up happening is they get us into wars, and they try to back it up with the military. Now, I've served, from the fall of Saigon to the victories in Fallujah. And again, what Trump did, well, first of all, what they do is they call us to go and fight their wars for them. And then afterwards, they realize that we have to rebuild our military, and then they basically hit our economy, to pay for it. Trump flipped it. He basically said, we have a strong economy. We're going to use our economic capability to lead with. That is what we're going to use to basically bring about, a more peaceful world. And what we're going to do is we're going to tell our diplomats, you will basically follow my lead, and we will use economic prowess to basically tell Russia, tell China, tell the other countries of the world, we will compete with you economically, and if you don't play fair, we will slap you with tariffs, we will do a lot of things for you. And then in the end, he rebuilt the military. And what he said was, our military is there to basically protect our country, our values. We do not want to fight, but if you provoke us, we will always fight to win. And so again, and I can tell a lot of stories about what it was like being in Southeast Asia when the dominoes fell. When Cambodia fell, I was there. When Saigon fell, I was there. When Laos fell, I was there. I came back to a country that was anti-military. But let me tell you, when we stepped across the line of departure on our way to Baghdad in 2003, and my CB division, I was a Navy CB, commanded 16,000 troops. We were attached to the Marine Expeditionary Force. Nobody messed with us until we kicked Saddam out of Baghdad. And when we came back, we had to come back because we had to fight the battles in Fallujah. There should have been only one battle in Fallujah. We had and by the way, the Israelis are following pretty close the tactics and the strategy that we used in Fallujah. But what happened was, we had the Fallujah Brigade pinned down at the river, right by the bridge where they had hung the Blackwater guys. And we were set for a pre-dawn attack to finish them off on the Saturday before Easter in 2004, when the politicians intervened. And they said, give us a 24-hour truce so we can negotiate with the Fallujah Brigade. And we knew 24 would become 48, would become 72. But at that point, the politicians took over. They took it away from the hands of the military, and the rest was history. 6 months later, we had to fight them again. It was a much bloodier battle. And by that point in time, sectarian violence was breaking out in Iraq, and you saw what ended up happening at the beginning of the 20-year war. It would not have happened had they stayed out of it. And my advice to Israel is don't listen to what you're hearing now. You've got to finish it. But the other thing, I was on O'Reilly during the 16 campaign, and he hit me with a blindsided one about China. He said, Admiral, do you really think Trump is going to be able to talk the Chinese into behaving? Or words to that effect. And he caught me by surprise. And I said, well, Bill, we all know that Trump is about the art of the deal. That's right. And we know that politics is about the art of the possible. I said, in a Trump administration, you're going to see a foreign policy that blends the art of the deal with the art of the possible in a flexible, unpredictable foreign policy, the likes of which the world has never seen. And Bill O'Reilly was tongue-tied. So again, that's where we saw, the art of the possible happening. But the art of the possible in politics has degenerated. It has become the art of the spin, where you take your facts, they aren't good enough, and you spin them. And then when that doesn't work, you start with the art of deceit. And when you basically say, geez, I've got to have different facts, to make my case. And when I stand up and say, I don't believe your facts are wrong, then politics becomes the art of intimidation. And people buckle under that intimidation. Here's a man who isn't going to buckle. Right. Because then when you don't buckle, they practice the art of destruction. Right. And that's where they are right now, using their weaponization of the justice system for the art of destruction. Now, when Stan and Frank called me and said they wanted me to play a supporting role in this film, and I said, geez, what am I going to talk about? What's it called? What is it? And they said, well, it's called The Fall of Deceit. And I said, well, that's interesting. I said, now, fall has two meanings. Are we talking about the autumn of deceit? Or are we talking about the destruction of deceit? Well, we know the big deceit happens in the autumn, when elections are being held.
2020.
And now, and Frank would say, well, we might give it a different name. So, I said, wait a minute, but then that deceit needs to fall. It needs to be the destruction of deceit. So I think that's where we are now, and I could answer questions and tell stories, all night about the challenge that our country faces and how we need to overcome it. But let's watch the movie and let's realize that this is what Reagan was talking about in 1967. We are at that departure point now, and deceit will either happen again next fall, or we will destroy it, and we will have an election that brings American values, American leadership, and America pride back to the greatest country on earth. So let's watch the movie.
Yes.